Welcome back to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith. We're continuing our chat with James and Shana Mackler and the Believe in Service PAC. Welcome back, guys. Shana, I want to turn attention to you for a little bit because this is an interesting point I wanted to share with our viewers. Let's talk about your dad, Sammy Goldstein, if you don't mind. He and his partner were together for 23 years, correct,
Yes.
before they were able to be married. Since our show is produced for the LGBT community, I'm curious if you'd share a little bit about his coming out story and how that worked with your family.
Sure. So I've been raised in a very tolerant and social justice minded family, which led to me becoming a rabbi also, but it made it so that we were just a very embracing family. And my dad was a single parent at the time, and I was in college, actually. Right before we went to college, my brother and I took a trip, and we both said, I think we need to talk about something. And so we both knew that he was gay, and he wasn't saying anything. I think he thought he was being discreet. And as a parent, you just want to make those choices for your children. And so in a conversation about, truth and being who you are, I sort of outed him and giving him permission. I had done for several years before, trying to be as open and inviting and making sure that he knew it was a safe thing to do, and I wore a shirt that said "Every kiss is a revolution," different kinds of couples on it, trying to make him understand.
You're really trying to push him out, right?
Without having to do what I ended up doing, and but as soon as I did it, the air lifted, and everyone sort of just understood that this is our family. And when we were introduced to Bill, his partner, we worked on being a family together, and fairly soon after that, I knew that whenever it was that I was going to get married, I wanted both of them to walk me down the aisle. And this is my family. These are my parents. And so after the Supreme Court decision came down, they had no intention necessarily of getting legally married in some other state. They live in Florida, and when the Supreme Court decision came down, they both were at dinner and they got a push notification that it happened. They sort of looked at each other and they said, "You want to get married?" And I was able to officiate their
wedding. Really?
Yeah.
That had to be really special.
It was amazing.
I can only imagine.
It was so meaningful.
And to hear your story sort of in reverse, if you follow me, like you encouraging your parent to come out instead of the other way around. It's just really touching to see that can go both ways. And that was
absolutely.
I'm just so inspired when I saw his page, his Facebook page, and saw how happy they were. Which leads us into a little bit. I had a question for you, James. Whenever you wrote that compelling letter in support of the Equality Act, you noted Sammy in the letter and mentioned that. I got a little misty reading it, honestly. It was kind of tearjerker. How has having two fathers-in-law changed or enhanced your life? What was it like for you marrying into that family?
Well, I mean, similarly to Shana, I was raised in a household that really was very inclusive. We welcomed anyone, and frankly, I was raised to see the value in all human beings. And so having two fathers-in-law doesn't change anything for me, but of course it makes it more personal.
Sure. And
that adds a little bit of passion to it, but having a personal connection shouldn't be the incentive that you need to pursue equality either.
Oh, that was well said. Did somebody get that? Somebody write that down. I like that. I want to use the rest of the time we have left, of course, to talk specifically about the PAC. But leading into that, let's talk a little bit about your decision to drop out when Bredesen entered the race and start the PAC. Could you kind of catch us up to starting it?
Sure. I mean, I spent the past year before I dropped out talking with Tennesseans all across the state about what they wanted but weren't getting from their elected senator. They're tired of name calling and they're tired of being divided. They want someone who's a real problem solver, and I don't have to tell you the problems are real: education, healthcare, the environment, jobs. And we're so fortunate to have Governor Phil Bredesen, a public servant with the best track record of solving problems in Tennessee, running for office.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I assumed that was your rationale after seeing what happened and seeing him enter the race. But so how long after you sort of dropped out and started supporting him did you decide, I'm going to start this PAC? Was that kind of an immediate decision?
It was right away. It was right away. I wanted to, there was no reason to delay, so I wanted to very quickly step forward and endorse Governor Bredesen, but also form a PAC so that I could continue to raise money and support candidates all across the country. Frankly, I put so much energy and time and investment into running, I wasn't ready to stop that entirely.
I can imagine, yeah.
And this gave me a way to channel that energy into both helping Governor Bredesen and helping other candidates.
Well, and I know your website described it as sort of fueled by individuals who want to expand national and civic service programs and donates directly to candidates running against anti-service politicians. I thought that was a really concise way of explaining what you're doing.
Right. Well, a lot of service programs that I think are critically important to this country, like AmeriCorps is a great example, but also student loan forgiveness programs and public health scholarship programs and legal aid. Those would all be cut under President Trump's proposed budget. And as I mentioned before, the benefits of those programs are tremendous. They're really minor investments in terms of the grand scheme of our economy. And the idea that we can't afford those while we're giving $1.5 trillion tax cut, frankly, is disingenuous and I think counter to our values. And so I want to make sure that we elect people who understand that those programs are not only worthwhile, but actually have a positive return on investment and make our country stronger.
We've only got about a minute left, and I could talk with you guys all day, so I want to make sure I get these last couple of questions in. Why do you think community service is such an important part of activism? Or is it just being a good neighbor, a good citizen, good both? I've kind of always heard do well by doing good. Is that kind of a good way to describe it?
Well, it is, but it's also, as I said, because we strengthen our country. So many of the problems we're facing right now are because we've become so tribal and so divided. And this is a way to bridge those divides. If you push your envelope, get outside of your comfort zone, and go to work for the greater good, you're going to meet other people and learn from them, get outside of your comfort zone, and bridge some of the divides.
You also have to do something, right?
You got to do something.
You got to do something. So we've got about 30
it's
seconds.
Mutually beneficial, too.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
The other piece
You're forced to work together. And I want to make sure I get this in because we only got about 30 seconds. If you're watching tonight and they want to connect, want to learn more, I want to give you a chance to give a little spiel.
Thank you. Yeah. Everyone should go to believeinservice.com. Very simple. Share their story of service on the website. Sign up. If they can contribute to the campaign financially, that's fantastic. Of course, we need those kind of contributions.
Sure.
But learn more at believeinservice.com.
Well, thank you guys. And please, everybody, read more in the June issue, the Pride Guide issue of Out and About Nashville. Got a little bit more with these guys in it. And thank you. We're out of time. I'm sorry we got to go. But that is all the time we have for tonight's special episode. You can follow us on your favorite social outlets for breaking LGBT news or watch us anytime at outandabouttoday.com. See you next weekend. Good night.